What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very, very good day today, because I wish all of you many great days and a great night, depending on what time of day it is. And also, I want to say thank you once again for allowing me to continue doing what I love. It would not be possible without all of you. And so, with that being said, this week's Chibi Questions might be a little bit different, and so to say, because I want to be adding in questions from those Chibits that supported me on Patreon. So they're going to be in this video as well. And so just to give a brief FYI, if you notice the format of some of the, questions look a little bit different, it's because that I added questions in from those that supported me as well. So I'm just doing an FYI. So anyways, with that being said though, let us begin this week's Chibit Questions. I would love to hear your thoughts or theories on what you think is in store for Bam as he continues his climb in TOG, or in Boku no Hero who you believe the traitor is. Okay, so to answer your first part of your question, what's in store for Bam? I believe Bam is going to have to overcome something very big in this upcoming arc. He's going to have to finally make a choice about Rachel. Will he give her up, or will he actually continue to try to cling on to her? Because one of the big things of Rachel's character, and Bam as well, and his dynamic with her, is that she's always been that character that's kind of held him back, been his greatest weakness throughout the entirety of the series, and has kind of forced him to, regress or not progress at all. And I feel like with this upcoming arc, with her being more in the spotlight and all that, being with Bam too, on his journey, I feel like we'll finally get some details of what Rachel really knows. Because she's always been this character that seems like she knows a lot, but she just won't let us know. And also on top of that, we do know that apparently she believes Bam steals everything from her. So I feel like this arc will determine if she can be redeemed in any way, or if Bam will just finally say enough is enough and just give up. That is what I think so far is in store for Bam. And then later on in the future, I feel like he's going to come to terms with something that's going to be similar to what Jihad had to go through. Jihad was someone that, became like a god and all that, and we see how he changed. I feel like Bam is going to have to go through something very similar that Jihad went through, and have to figure out how to overcome that too, that obstacle. Because for all we know, what Jihad is currently doing and all that at the top of the tower, it could be a test. It could be a very long test or something. We have no idea. So that's what I'm getting at. Anyways, to answer your second half of your question, Boku no Hero, who do I believe the traitor is? Looking at everything, I'm not even going to lie here, this is going to be some spoilers for anime onlys and all that, but I believe Mineta. I believe Mineta is the traitor. I mean, so far we haven't seen anything that makes it look like he's a traitor, but just think about how he is as a character. I mean, number one, Horikoshi loves Mineta. It's like Horikoshi's favorite character is Mineta. Mineta is a pervert that's always watching, and when you think about a traitor, they're always watching. Mineta fits that description. He can hide it because he's always watching. Peephole in the middle of the couple episodes back and all that. Just the man, it seems like he's always able to spy on people. And also, he was one of the only people part of UA that we didn't get to see the rooms. We didn't see his room at all. So for all we know, he could have some surveillance equipment and stuff inside there, or something else that's really off or strange that just does not fit him at all. So who knows? I truly believe Mineta could possibly be it. Would you rather be a lolicon but nobody knows, or would you not be one but everyone thinks you are one? Okay, so basically you're saying I am a lolicon but nobody knows. Nobody is aware that I am. But if I choose to say I'm not one, everybody would believe in the world. See, this is very similar to a question I answered a long time ago. I forget what the exact question was, but it's a very similar. But this one has a lot of different meaning, though. I mean, everybody thinks I would be a lolicon, but I am not one. I still want to hold on to the thing and say that even if everybody thinks I'm a lolicon, I know in my heart I'm not one. And that's really all that matters personally to me. But at the same time, though, being a lolicon and no one knowing, that would stop me from all the issues from the outside. But there's still a potential possibility if I really am a lolicon, I would be found out. So both issues are still, present there. I would choose the second one. I would say I would not be one, but I would think everyone would think I am one. That's what I would probably say, because even though everybody thinks that, I'd rather know in my heart I'm not one. Chibi, do you consider the Netflix Castlevania adaptation an anime? To be honest, I don't really know. I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, I know it's a Netflix original and all that. And I don't really know a whole lot about Castlevania because I've never played Castlevania. I know it's about vampires and stuff, but I've never played Castlevania, so I'm kind of like, I lack knowledge, so to say, on the series. I don't know if I would consider it an anime since it was made by Netflix and it's an American company, but did they have Japan work on Castlevania and then they just, gave it like an English dub or something? I mean, that's what I'm curious. Because depending on where it was made and all that will determine if it's an anime. Because, like, when I look at cartoons and anime, I look at cartoons as stuff that's made in America, and when I look at anime as stuff that's made in Japan. And if it was a Netflix original, but they had an entire, like, studio from Japan work on it, and then they gave it to Netflix, then I would probably say that's an anime. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments below. Have you read Psyren? I have read Psyren. That is a really good manga. The ending could have been a little bit better, but overall, it was a very good manga. I actually say, besides the ending being kind of it was a good read, and I would recommend reading it. It's probably not the best thing I've ever actually read, but it's definitely an enjoyable read. So if you want something very enjoyable with some action and stuff, I do recommend Psyren. It's a really fun read. I really couldn't recommend it enough, and it's not a really long series. Like, it's not insanely long, so I feel like it wouldn't take that long to be able to catch up or, just finish it. You could probably even finish it in maybe like 2 or 3 sittings. It really wouldn't take that long at all. How much anime do you watch per day? That depends. It really depends on the time of day. For instance, a day like this on Wednesday, I only like watch 1 or 2 shows, or, I guess some days I can watch like 4 or 6 shows. It really can vary. I mean, in the past, I used to like watch 10 episodes per day, or like 8 plus per day. It was crazy. So when I really think about it, my average nowadays, I think it's around like 3, maybe 4 a day. That's like the average. I'd say, just a flat 3. 3 anime episodes per day seems to be the average when it comes to anything I do. So, yeah. Would you watch a harem if it got a good story and characters? Oh yes, as I've always said, I'm willing to try a harem series if it does have a good story, good characters, and doesn't try to be cliche. The only thing that makes me hate harems so much is because they're always copy and paste. They're the exact same thing. Every series of a harem, it's the same thing, just with a new coat of paint. I'm like, come on now. Like, I'm tired of seeing the same thing. I want to see something new. And so, if it's something entirely new, doesn't have those cliches to make it like the exact same thing, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll start it, I'll watch it, I'll probably love it. So, yeah, I would definitely would. If you were a Nen user in the Hunter Association on Hunter x Hunter, what type of user would you be? What kind of ability would you have? I think I'd be a conjurer. I would definitely want to be a conjurer. I think I would be one. But, ability I would have. That's a hard one, because Hunter x Hunter, there's like unlimited amount of things you can really do in Nen. I mean, it's crazy what you can do in Nen, especially when you put restrictions and stuff. I would, honestly, to think of an answer to this, like what type of ability I would want, it would take a long time for me to process, because you gotta remember that when it comes to restrictions, it strengthens it, and you gotta choose what type of Nen you want, or whatever, like, what ability it is. You gotta think about it really hard, and if I'm a conjurer type and all, I gotta think about what I can do with it, how I can use it. I don't really know. I would say I want something like elemental, though. I would definitely want something elemental where, like, maybe I can control, like, elements. Maybe, like, I guess similar, like, earthbending or something. I would really like that. Like, being able to control the earthbending, like, just, like, be able to manipulate earth or whatever. Or just being able to control the elements of, like, fire, ice, or, air or whatever. And then just earth. I would like something like that. That is definitely something I'd like to be able to mess with. Maybe that would make me more of a manipulator when I think about it. Maybe a manipulator. I don't know. Regardless, though, it would take a lot of thought to figure this one. So I would say conjurer, but something to do with elements. That is definitely something I would want. Have you played the mobile game Fate Go? It follows the Fate Grand Order story and is quite addicting. No, I have not played Fate Grand Order. I know it's a mobile game, but here's the thing, though. I only own, like, here, let me show you guys, actually. Let me grab my phone here. I only have a little flip phone, so I don't have, like, a big-ass mobile phone and all that to be able to play games and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I just never felt like I needed a mobile phone, because when I use a phone, I don't need internet. I don't need, to have all those fancy gadgets and stuff. I like my flip phone. It's just, it's simple. It's just calling, texting, that's basically it. That's all I want to use the phone for. If I need to do something, I have my computer, I have my tablet, or, you know, I have, like, my Xbox or something, or my PlayStation. So, basically, I don't really play mobile games. It's not that I don't want to play Fate Go. I would definitely play it. I just don't want to buy a phone just to play, like, this big-ass, like, you know, smartphone just to be able to play, you know, Fate Go. So, besides that, I know it's probably a good game. I know it's a good game. I've heard a lot about it. I just, like I said, I don't feel like buying a smartphone to be able to play it. Regarding Yasuhisa Hara, the mangaka of Kingdom, would you be interested in any other geopolitical warfare manga that Yasuhisa might make after Kingdom is finished? If so, which would you prefer he tackle? A continuation of the Chinese settings such as the Three Kingdoms era, the Rise of the Mongols, ooh, typing a rebellion, I can't pronounce that right, so forgive me, and etc. A new region such as Rome, India, Japan, Civil War America, or number 3, a fictional setting such as Warhammer, Fantasy Battle, or 40K, or Middle Earth. Ooh. Oh, man. Okay, so when you think about Yasuhisa's, you know, ability to write stories and tactics and stuff, he could definitely do a good, he could do a good warfare manga. Just, in terms of warfare, he's really good at that. Most likely what he's good at, he's really good at the Chinese setting. I would say he should probably stick to what he's good at, which would be to continue the era stuff and go to the Three Kingdoms era, or the Mongols. But if he wants to do something new, I would really love to see him try to, you know, dabble into a fiction, like a fictional setting, like where we have fantasy stuff, like elves or dwarves. I would love to see the man, like, adapt something similar to Lord of the Rings. Like, that would be fucking awesome if you could make something like Lord of the Rings with its own world and stuff, and it has its own politics and its system with how warfare is waged. I would love that. That would definitely be something I would really be into if Yasuhisa was able to do that. But most likely, I don't know how you would handle a fantasy setting, especially with how it's, you know, it works. So he probably should stick with what he's good at, which would be, you know, Chinese setting with, like, you know, how the war and stuff is done. Chibi, I love your coverage of Boku no Hero Academia. Personally, the manga is my favorite current running manga, and in my top 5 of all time. So my question to you is, where does Boku no Hero Academia rank in your all-time favorite manga rankings? Sorry if this question makes you think too hard. No problem at all. I'm trying to think here. So, my all-time manga rankings? Okay, so I don't think Boku no Hero is in my top 10. Now, before you guys want to gut me, the reason why I say that is because Boku no Hero is still a fairly new series. It is a new series that is still running, and it doesn't have, like, a decade on its shoulders like other series that are currently going on right now. So it still has a lot to prove and a lot to be done for it to be in the same, like, I guess, top 10 as it holds some other manga. So I don't hold it up that high. However, Boku no Hero Academia is definitely one, not the, but one of the best manga currently ongoing right now. I will not deny that. It is definitely, yeah, it's definitely near the top. It's probably in top 10 status of current ongoing manga. But besides that, I wouldn't say that it is in top 10 of all time yet. But it is a really good manga, and I hold it in very high regard. It's a really good shonen. It's a really good manga all around. Horikoshi knows what he's doing with it. And so I would say if I was to place it, I would definitely put it personally in my top 20 manga. I would definitely put it in my top 20. Easily, I would do that. But it's definitely not my top 10, because top 10, those are some very special ones in my heart, with just either being masterpieces or they had, like, certain effect on me as a person. So it'd take a lot of time for Boku no Hero to reach that status. But overall, though, I would say that it's definitely in my top 20. What's the lewdest anime you've watched all the way through? If we're not counting hentai, okay? Like, let's not count hentai, because hentai would just be too easy to say for lewdness-wise. Lewd-wise, I would say one of the lewdest anime I have ever witnessed is probably Kiss Sis, the uncensored version in the OVAs. Like, if you have never seen Kiss Sis as OVAs, or just the uncensored TV version, oh my god, that series is something else. So, that's probably one of the lewdest ones, and if it's not that, I would say To Love Ru, Darkness. An antagonist with motives that make you root for him/her instead of the protagonist. The main villain of Psycho-Pass, Season 1, not Season 2, that abomination. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm not counting Season 2. I'm talking about Season 1, the antagonist, I forget his name, it's been a long time since I thought about him, but the antagonist from Psycho-Pass Season 1 was freaking awesome. I was rooting for him to win over the other characters. Do you use Hentai Haven? Yes, I do. Muda or Oda? Would you rather be guaranteed a Spice and Wolf Season 3 or a year of weekly Berserk releases while out hiatus? Oh, that's mean. That's very mean, no Neko no Life. That's a very, very mean question. You know how I feel about Spice and Wolf. I think out of everyone, you know how much I cherish Spice and Wolf. So, I would get a guaranteed Spice and Wolf Season 3. Here's the thing, though. Since you say guaranteed, you didn't tell me if it would be good. Like, okay, it could be a Season 3, but it's done by, like, Studio Clown, and it's just absolute shit. Like, they don't follow the source material, they rush it, the animation art looks like trash, and it just ruins the experience of Spice and Wolf. See, when you say a guaranteed Spice and Wolf Season 3, you're not guaranteeing me that it's going to be good, and it's going to get a Season 4, because I know for a fact with the content of Spice and Wolf, it could easily get a Season 4, and even a Season 5, or a Season 6. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of content of Spice and Wolf, depending on the pacing and how it's handled, it can last a while. So, when I think about it like that, I don't know. I really don't know if I would want a guaranteed Season 3, unless I was reassured it was going to be a good adaptation. So, knowing how that is, I would probably side with Berserk. Only the reason for that is because I know Berserk is quality, and I know Kentaro would release quality chapters every single month, and so I would honestly be fine with Kentaro and all that. I'd be fine with Berserk, because I know for a fact I could look forward to quality, while when it comes to Spice and Wolf, it definitely won't be at that level, most likely, because most likely the anime studio won't put in that passion, like, you know, how Berserk, you know, the passion that Berserk has. Do you have a collection? Do you collect anything? Me. Thick anime 5, size 120 holy shit. Yeah, I do. I think we all have a folder like this in our computer. Let's just be real, we all do. I call mine H-tie. Have you seen the Hurricane Irma being one of the strongest hurricanes? I've seen it. I think you'd have to be living under a rock or not be living in America not to be aware of the hurricane. The hurricane's massive, and Florida is about to take a massive hit. I got a couple of friends in Florida, and I really hope they're going to be okay, because I know how hurricanes are. Remember, I used to live in Florida. I was living in Florida when we got hit by Katrina and all that. It was not good. So, when you think about it and all that, hurricanes can be very deadly. Florida, it can be very nasty when a hurricane hits. So, I'm worried for a couple of my friends there. I'm worried for everyone that's, you know, living there as well. I do hope that they're going to take shelter and be fine, because that's going to be, if it really does hit as a Category 5, it's going to be nasty. So, for all of you that are living in Florida or in, you know, the range of getting affected by this, I hope you're safe. Buckle down and just get ready. That's all I'm going to say. My words of advice. Why did you watch your first ever anime? So, like, why did I watch anime, or why did I start watching my first ever anime? Well, I don't know if I've ever answered this. I might have answered it in a Chibi vlog, and if I did, I don't think I've ever answered it here. And if you do know, please forgive me. But, I watched my first ever anime, which was Dragon Ball, which I didn't know was an anime, so I don't know if I should count that as an anime, because at the time I was watching a lot of Cartoon Network. I remember getting into, like, Samurai Jack, watching Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Dexter's Laboratory, just watching all sorts of cartoons on Cartoon Network, and then sometimes I watched Rugrats and all that, Hey Arnold. I was watching just a bunch of shows, and eventually I went into a pawn shop. I discovered Dragon Ball. Like, it was a VHS of Dragon Ball, and I was like, oh wow, this looks really cool. Like, this looks like something I would really enjoy. So I picked it up. I watched it. I thought it was going to be a cartoon, and then little did I know, it was actually something much different. It had, like, an ongoing story and stuff. I was like, whoa, this is so different. It was, like, very different at the time, and I'm like, I like this. I really, really like this. If we're not talking about Dragon Ball, okay, because at the time I didn't even know it was an anime, I would say Inuyasha. I started Inuyasha because I wanted something very long, and I wanted something that had romance as well, and that's what got me into Inuyasha, so that is why. I just wanted something with romance. Do you think Touka and the baby will die? And if so, what do you think would happen to Kaneki? I do think one of them might die. I truly believe Touka will die and the baby will survive. And the reason for it, as I've said already in my reviews and live reactions, is that I believe the reason why Touka would die is because it would make Kaneki in a very similar state to how he was with his mother, but it would be the reverse roles. He would instead have to be taking care of a kid that doesn't have the support of its mother, and Kaneki would be like that in that state. What Kaneki's mother had to go through and what he was as a child, it would be like the reverse role, and he would have to, you know, figure out how he can raise this child in a world that's against him, but also at the same time, though, he'll probably have a lot of flashbacks to his time when he was a child and think about what he could do different as a parent, and I believe that will in turn lead us to finding out more about Kaneki's past and how he could become a better person, and it finally, you know, tried to become something that his parents never could be for him. So I believe that it needs to happen just for Kaneki to develop in that state to be a really good parent, to learn from his parents' mistakes. But I don't know if Ishida wants to go that far, but I believe that could possibly happen. And if they both die, oh shit, Kaneki's gonna hate the world. That man's wanna kill everybody. What's the average difference in length from your unedited versions to your versions you post on YouTube for your videos? Very, very good question. You know what? I'll use an example from what is currently rendering right now at the bottom of my screen. It is the Chibi vlog. So the Chibi vlog, it's been literally rendering for, no joke, 5 hours now. 5 fucking hours it has been rendering. Thank God it has not crashed. Like, my computer hasn't crashed. Thank you, computer. But basically, when I was editing that, it was around like 2 hours. It was around like near 2 hours. It was like an hour and 55 minutes of recordings, and I had to do multiple recordings and stuff because, you know, my camera can only record for 30 minutes, and then I have to do another record and all that. So basically, I did multiple records and all that, and I also had to worry about the batteries dying and stuff. And time all that's done, editing stuff, that when it ended up at like an hour 55, and when I was editing it down, it only had like an hour and like 15 or 20 minutes left. So basically, I edited a good chunk out of it, like a 30-minute chunk out of the video. And when it comes to my average reviews, what I normally do is, like, if I make a mistake, I pause. I sit silent for just for like a good 15-20 seconds where I can see the actual silence in the audio clip, and then I know that's where I made my mistake, and I can edit that out and stuff. That's usually what I do. And then other unedited versions as well, or I mean when I'm editing them, it usually can vary. I can lose like 5 minutes off of like a 15-minute video to maybe 2 minutes off. It really just depends, honestly, with how my day was going and if I was fucking up really bad. Best kid in anime, like a kid that's just sweet and innocent and surely will grow to be a fine adult, that kind of stuff. I would say the main child, the main character in Botakomon. If you've ever watched that anime, you know what I'm talking about. I think Naru, I think that's what the girl's name was. I could be wrong there, but it was a very, very sweet show. Recommended anime. Do you think there is enough manga content of The Promised Neverland to at least get a season 1 of 12 or 13 episodes of the first arc? Oh yes, definitely. There is definitely enough content to be able to probably cover, yeah, 12 to 13 episodes. I can easily see it. Just the entire farm arc, yeah. That could be 12 to 13 depending on how it's paced and all that. Yeah, I think we already have enough content. What do you think about the fact that Ishida didn't include Ayato in his group on the map from the last chapter of Tokyo Ghoul Re? Because I believe Ayato will probably pop up with the reinforcements from underground. For instance, like maybe the original One-Eyed King, or that'll probably be where Hide was the entire time. And maybe Hide has reinforcements coming up to help Kaneki. Are you ready for The Walking Dead Season 8? That's gonna be starting soon, ain't it? You just reminded me of that. I'm really looking forward to watching it because I love Walking Dead, and I love the previous season. I like where it was going. So yeah, I'm definitely ready to sit down and watch it. I am, super excited for it. If you could enter college for the first time ever, what would you study? Graphics design. That's something I've always wanted to do, be a graphics designer. It would help me out with Photoshop and just, doing stuff like that, and also with YouTube and doing other things on the side. So yeah, I would say graphics design. In honor of the new Gintama season, do you prefer the serious or comedic episodes? I prefer both. I like both. I like Gintama for everything it has to offer, but if I had to choose, I really love Gintama for its story. But at the same time, though, I had so much fun watching the comedy arcs. I mean, that character pull arc was just amazing. So, you know what? I'll say comedy arcs. I truly love the comedy. I know the seriousness is great. I fucking love that. It's so good. But I love the comedy as well. So, if I had to choose one, I'd choose comedy. Because that's what really got me into Gintamas when I did start, was the comedy. Walk on hot coals for a mile or watch Boku no Pico with your friends. Oh my, no. I'm sorry, I'm going to walk on hot coals. I'd rather walk on hot coals and have my feet scarred and burnt to hell and back than ever watch Boku no Pico ever again. After watching that first episode, I was just fucking disturbed. That was... Death by fire or water. Choose wisely. I'd rather die by fire. Now, hear me out. I know many of you would rather drown, but drowning is actually much worse than dying by fire. With fire, it's gonna hurt a hell of a lot. It's gonna hurt, yes. But the thing is when you're on fire, and if you're catching on fire, if you're awake or whatever, your nerves are gonna be burnt. And so you're no longer gonna feel anything after the first, 30 seconds to a minute or whatever if you catch on fire, because your nerves are gonna be burnt to hell, and you're not gonna be able to feel anything. So, death by fire is much quicker, much faster. Death by water is very slow and excruciating, because I've heard stories, now don't quote me on this, but I've heard stories when you die by drowning, when you do die, you pass out, you actually feel like your body is on fire, like you're burning, because your body is literally shutting down and dying when you run out of oxygen and you can no longer move. So I feel like dying by drowning or water would be much worse than fire, because fire's quicker, water would take a lot longer to kill you. Kirby, Pac-Man, or Yoshi, who would win in the eating contest? Oh, that's extremely easy. Kirby. I mean, have you not looked up what Kirby is capable of? Kirby is literally like a black hole. He's a black hole. So, Kirby would win. When it comes to eating, that man has no limits to his stomach. Fill in the blanks. If the world is flat, then global warming does not exist. Is this a unique question? No. Would you rock this sweater? Hell yeah, fam. How much holo hentai have you read? I have read basically everything that is possible to read, or that I could get my hands on. Yuno Gasai, Tsukiyama Shu, and Hisoka. If they all three met each other, what would they do? Hisoka would probably kill them all. When Akainu is receiving a blowjob and he ejaculates, does her mouth melt? I guess, yeah, he would probably fucking melt her entire head off and her... Oh my god, that's a horrible image. That's a horrible fucking image. That, oh my god, yeah, oh man, that made, oof. Best pantsuit color, my boy, striped, white and black. And so with that, I'm gonna end this week's Chibi Questions. You all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for all of you that supported me on Patreon. I do appreciate that as well. And if you want to support me, links are in the description as well. Thank you once again, and guys, I love you. Please be safe. Chibi out.